Calls for the passage of gender bills gets more support. Opinions differ over the arrest of Senator Rochas Okorocha by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. And later on the program,
it is the duty of Mr. President to cause their budgets to be laid before the Parliament.
Honourable Oluwole Oke will join us to speak on the state of the nation. You're watching the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adewi. The National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies has renewed calls for the passage of the gender bills in the ongoing fifth alteration to the 1999 Constitution. They say the wide disparity between the male and female gender on inclusion needs to be addressed through legislation.
This workshop, therefore, is yet another effort by the National Assembly and our institute to strengthen the legislature's own institutional capacity to make a positive impact on the budget and to equip the National Assembly, legislatures, and parliamentary staff with the necessary tools to examine the budget from a gender perspective.
As a nation, what we have in national budget is a national cake. And it is only when we distribute that national cake in a fair way and equitable way that it can translate into true development for the different segments of society.
Joining me on the program is a lawmaker representing Obokun Oriade Federal Constituency, Honourable Oluwole Oke of Osun State. It's good to have you on the program.
I appreciate.
It's politics time. How has it been with you with the primary election?
Fine. It went well in my constituency. I was returned unopposed. It was peaceful, in the state, in our state, all over the place.
Unopposed, you said. What was responsible?
I think it's a reward for hard work, pragmatism, care for the people. I would just say it's a reward for my constituents.
How are you preparing for the battle ahead?
We're ever ready. We are ready. If the people can come together and say, oh, look, our rep, we are returning you unopposed. It's signpost that they are ready.
Your committee is very strategic in the battle against corruption. Share with us your experience in the last 3 years.
Well, my experience is that of a very weak workforce in the executive arm of government. A workforce that is not motivated. A workforce that lacks training and retraining. So, a lot of gaps when it comes to internal control. It's a very pitiable situation. And it's a situation that the watchdog, the Auditor General of the Federation, has become a dog that cannot bark. Even when that office is harmed with competent manpower. Because the reports they turn in, when you read such report, the quality of the report, I give it to them. They have competent personnel, professionals. But the MDAs that they audit, it's where you see that, yes, a lot of issues. And when you also invite these agencies to appear to defend the queries, you see them putting up all sorts of schemes to avoid appearance, to defend the queries. That is the situation in which we found ourselves. It was difficult for them to enforce rendition of accounts, particularly those MDAs that the General has no power based on the provision of a constitution to audit These are para-agencies that were created by acts of the parliament, corporations, like NNPC, DPR, and you name them, that the law expects them to appoint external auditors. It is after the external auditors have audited the accounts, and then they lay same before their board, and then thereafter render it to the Office of the Auditor General before 31st of May of the preceding year. So, but when we came in the Night Assembly, we took this matter up, and we are very happy that all the MDs are up and doing now. They now render their accounts as at when due. But for the conventional ministries, departments, and agencies of government, that the Accountant General is expected to, finalize their accounts, because these MDs initially were sending trial balances every month to the Office of the Accountant General. But based on the requirement of IPSAS, and the Accountant General also issued a circular that mandates these agencies to prepare what we call standalone financial statements, which ought to be audited before they forward them to the Accountant General. The MDS agencies were also found wanting. Since 2016, about 905 of them are yet to comply. We're in a very terrible situation.
So how do you work around this to achieve results?
Yes, the way to go about it is that even the archaic law that we are still using, the Financial Management Control Act, made provision for sanctions. Negligence to prepare, to render accounts is termed as gross misconduct, and it attracts sanction, as old as that law is. So, where Auditor General reports and the Parliament considers same, and then send the reports back to the Executive for implementation, if the Executive is up and doing at sanctioning the officials that are here, then people will stand up and do what they should do as at when due.
Why is the proposed amendment to the Fiscal Responsibility Act stalled?
What is the provisions that they are bringing to the Fiscal Responsibility Act that they intend to check corruption? What is that provision? What is that provision? The Constitution, ab initio, made provisions against all those kind of things. For example, ma'am, under what situation or which condition should a revenue generating agency tamper with the revenue that ought to have accrued to the government? It's an aberration. Section 81 of the Constitution is very clear. All revenue, and if you read Section 162, all revenue that has accrued should go into federation accounts, or those that should go into the consolidated revenue of the government. You can only touch public funds in a manner prescribed by the Parliament. After Mr. President must have laid his budget. I also want to let you know that there are parastatals that come to the back door to submit their budgets to their committees, the standing committees of the House. It's an aberration. It is Mr. President. I give you an example. Nigerian Local Content Management Development Board. They will bring their budget behind the back door, give it to their committee in the House and Senate, and the chairman of those two committees will sign, and they will go and implement the same. I asked the MD, show me correspondence that Mr. President brought your parliament, your budget to the Parliament. I asked the clerk of the House to show me the records of proceedings in the House, that this budget was read the first time, second time, and committed to the relevant committee for consideration before they got the approval to spend the money.
So that makes the parliament culpable.
That is the truth. But the fact remains that it is Mr. President. It is Mr. President that should forward his budget. And this budget includes all parastatals, CBN, FIRS, Nigerian Customs, all agents of government. It is the duty of Mr. President to cause their budgets to be laid before the parliament. And it should be read for the first time by Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker should communicate Mr. President correspondence letters conveying those budgets to the parliament. It should be read. Then second time, we will debate all the principles. Then you commit it to the relevant committee for public hearing and other further legislative actions. But you see, most of these agencies just come to the back door, meet their relevant standing committee chairman, and sign, and they go away to go and make. So the point I'm making is that the Constitution have been issued, has made provision for this. It's just for us to follow the law.
But if the parliament itself does not follow the law, who will?
It is not the parliament this time around. Like I've told you, it is Mr. President's duty to bring his budget to the parliament. For example, I wrote to SSGF that I want proof that the budget of some of these agencies were conveyed to the parliament. So it is Mr. President, as he's bringing his budget, it is presumed that all those budgets form parts of that national budget.
But a committee sitting is different from a chairman.
When I say chairman, of course the chairman presides as if he's the speaker. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So when I say chairman, I'm referring to the committee. So the point I'm making is this, that to track, to wage war against what the amendment sought in the Fiscal Responsibility Act to do is to ensure that Mr. President complies with the provision of the Constitution by bringing the budget of these relevant MDAs to the Parliament.
Many Nigerians were jolted with the news of the arrest of the Accountant General of the Federation, allegedly involved in graft initially to the tune of 80 billion naira and now to about 117 billion. What does this say of the government's anti-graft war?
Well, when you look at Auditor General's reports, some of these issues are actually embedded in the Auditor General's reports. So it's not a new thing. And I think the relevant agencies of government, they are doing their job. They're doing their job. Like I have said, it remains an allegation. It remains an allegation, except and until the public is informed. If the 80 billion or whatever amount is traced to his own personal account, it could be a gap in the finances of the government. So since it's under investigation, it would be inappropriate to talk about it.
And how well has your committee been able to look through the queries of most of these agencies?
You see, the problem we have, ma'am, is that the appointment of Auditor General, the problems that we have starts with the appointment of Mr. Auditor General. The executive arm of government, Civil Service Commission, Head of Service, and the Presidency process the appointment of Auditor General, who is a civil servant, confirmed by the Senate. The same person will now go and audit the same his bosses. Now, when they bring their reports and there are gaps, and the Parliament considers same, our report is also sent back to the same executive. You can find out if the executive have implemented any of our reports. Go and find out. I remember vividly in the 8th Assembly, we considered 2010, and there were recommendations. So you go and find out if the executive have implemented the findings. When we came on board, the 2011 to 2014, that the Parliament could not consider, we resuscitated the reports and listened before the 9th Assembly Committee, along with our reports from 2015 to 2017. They're before the parliament awaiting consideration. Once we consider them, then we'll send the reports back to the executive for implementation. But assuming we have a public accounts tribunal, right, that an independent body that considers the reports, the findings of the parliament, there will be actions. And that's why I brought a bill seeking to create public accounts tribunal, where our reports, our findings will go to. Just like you have Code of Conduct Bureau, and you also have Code of Conduct Tribunal. Except and until we have that, it might be difficult to track and enforce our findings.
So
What we have done in the Night Assembly is that rather than engaging an agency in war of words or media war, if we invite you through 3 times and you fail to come, it's like in a conventional court. If you have a matter in court and you are someone you are asked to appear and you fail to appear, you fail to exhaust your fundamental human rights of fair hearing, what do? We will adopt the reports of the Auditor General, which means that that person is guilty as alleged. But it is our duty, because we also hold some of the leadership of these agencies. They are Nigerians, they are brothers and sisters. We also owe them duty of care. We don't intimidate, we don't harass people. If there's an observation, an allegation by the Auditor General against you, we'll serve you. We'll give you a date to come and tell Nigerians the own side of the story. So often than not, they will write letters seeking one excuses or the other. But if we call you 2-3 times, we adopt the report. And you don't show up, we adopt the report of the Auditor General.
So the bill that you spoke about,
Yeah.
At what stage is it now?
It's coming up for second reading.
So how soon do we see it pass?
By the special grace of God, once these presidential primaries and all our primaries are over, we're reconvening on the 7th, hopefully. I intend to lead the debate for second reading.
It has also been reported that the former Accountant General of the Federation chose to return over 6 billion so as to escape prosecution.
I also read it in the pages of paper this morning, but I'm not aware. I don't know whether it is true or not, so except we find out from the relevant agencies of government, I'm not aware.
Your party, the PDP, made history as the first ruling party to be upstaged in the national election. What was responsible?
When sometimes parties in power, they get carried away. They become very insensitive to the feelings of the governed. And of course, the opposition party then, that is in government now, they were more organized, proactive. They put up all sorts of synergy, lobbying, both locally and internationally. They went extra mile, sometimes even told Nigerians things that are not possible, like $1 to become 1 naira and all that. Even things that we know that was not going to be possible. But Nigerians bought it, and then they voted PDP out of power. So, PDP too should do same. And we're in a dynamic society. All the good things that we did, that the current government cannot even match, right? That we still, the power got into our head. I'll give you an example. Why would you allow 5 governors to leave your party one day? Why would the sitting president have issues with Governor Amici? Why would the party not obey a court of appeal decision that Oyinlola was the lawful secretary of the party? Why was the governor, who is assumed to be the commanding officer, the leader of the party in Kano State. Why did you suddenly pick up a fight with him? So why would you allow your governors to leave your party? 5 governors leave your party one day with former Governor Ilola. So that was where we got it wrong. We thought, oh, presidency is almighty presidency. But Nigerians said no. So it was a bitter lesson for us. That was just the truth of the matter. But on all fronts, we did well. We did well. There was a team. We had an economic team. We have the best hands on table. But politically, we are very, very insensitive. Because if those 5 governors were to be in the party, we wouldn't miss it.
What prospects is there for your party in 2023?
You see, the prospect of the party is that the government of the day is also behaving like PDP. The government of the day is also behaving like PDP. I hope and I pray that they won't get it right. They won't get it right. That's my prayer. I hope they won't get it right. I hope they will not choose the right person for presidential candidate so that we can sweep them out of office.
Do you think dropping the zoning arrangements will pay off for your party?
But the truth is this, I don't support zoning. In this modern day Nigeria, we are talking about zoning. I think we should talk about issues. We should talk about competence. We should talk about capacity. We should talk about somebody who has energy. We should talk about someone who has the exposure and the network. We should talk about a Nigerian. We shouldn't be talking about zoning. How do you want to preach zoning to somebody like me? I speak Hausa, I speak Igbo, I speak Yoruba. So why would you want to be talking? Why would you be talking to me about zoning? I would rather go for someone that I know is competent, that is burning with the desire, with energy to fix Nigeria. And they are available in our party. Not west, south, not central. They are there. Look at Governor Waziri Tambua. Look at Bukola Saraki. Look at our leader, Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar. Somebody at his age who went back to university to acquire a master's degree. Or do you want to come south? Southwest, southeast, south. We have competent hands.
So far, do you think your party has learned its lessons?
We have. We have. Forget about what you are reading, hearing, and all that. All the mudslinging. Our party will come together when we go for the presidential primaries. We'll sort ourselves out. And we're ready to go.
That is all on the program this week. You can catch up with fresh episodes of the program on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adeoye. See you next time.